everyone! For years, Taylor Adams, the only daughter of gospel legend Yolanda Adams, lived in the shadows of a woman the world called the First Lady of Modern Gospel. While her mother's name echoed through churches and concert halls across the globe, Taylor chose silence, a life far removed from the glittering lights of the stage and the soaring melodies that made her mother a household name. But now, after years of quiet observation, reflection, and healing, Taylor Adams is finally ready to speak out. And what she shares is nothing short of a soul-stirring testimony. She begins by expressing how much love and admiration she has for her mother, how Yolanda's music and faith have helped millions and even carried her through some dark nights. But at the same time, she bravely peels back the curtain on what it was like growing up in the home of a gospel icon. Taylor reveals that behind the flawless performances and the immaculate public image, there was often a heavy cost. A cost paid in moments missed, emotions bottled, and struggles misunderstood. People saw my mother on stage, smiling, worshiping, winning awards, but they didn't see the long nights she spent on the road, the times I waited by the phone just to hear her voice, or the loneliness I felt sitting in front of a TV while she was halfway across the world. Taylor's voice breaks as she continues. There were times I didn't know if I was important to her ministry or just part of the life she left behind every time she boarded a plane. It's not that Yolanda wasn't a loving mother, Taylor makes that clear. But the demands of being a gospel superstar, a speaker, a role model, and a businesswoman meant that sometimes being mom had to come second. And for a young girl who just wanted her mother to be present, that reality left invisible wounds. Taylor recalls the pressure of perfection, the burden of being watched, judged, and expected to represent her mother's brand. I couldn't just be myself, she says. If I messed up, it wasn't just Taylor made a mistake. It was Yolanda Adams' daughter did this. Every choice I made was scrutinized through her image, and that made me afraid to be authentic. The pressure pushed Taylor into isolation, and for a while, she struggled with anxiety, self-worth, and even her faith. She shares that there were moments she questioned everything, her place in the world, her relationship with God, and her purpose. People assumed I was this strong, spiritual girl just because of who my mother was. But the truth is, I was lost. I didn't know God the way she did. I didn't feel holy. I felt broken. Taylor admits that she often felt unseen, even in the middle of huge crowds who cheered for her mother. She longed for a normal life, one not defined by celebrity, interviews, or expectations. I didn't want to be a public figure. I didn't want the cameras. I just wanted peace. That desire for peace led her to distance herself, not just from the public eye, but at times from her mother as well. It wasn't out of rebellion, she says, but out of self-preservation. I had to figure out who I was without her name. I had to learn to love myself beyond the Adams legacy. In her silence, Taylor found strength. She pursued her own interests, traveled, took time for therapy, and slowly started to build a life of her own, one not dictated by gospel fame. She began journaling, praying, and confronting the parts of herself she had long ignored. It took me years to forgive, not just my mom but myself, she admits. I blamed myself for feeling hurt, as if I wasn't allowed to. But now I know healing doesn't mean dishonoring her. It just means telling the truth. Today, Taylor speaks with a clarity and confidence that only comes from deep personal growth. She doesn't carry bitterness in her voice, only honesty. And her truth is not an attack on her mother, but a tribute to her own journey. My mom did the best she could with the life she was given. She broke barriers. She lifted the name of Jesus around the world, and I'm proud of her. But I also needed space to tell my story, to share what it's like to grow up under that light and still feel invisible. Taylor says her relationship with her mother is now stronger than ever, and that Yolanda has embraced her daughter's truth with open arms. She cried with me. She told me she was sorry for the time she was gone, and she said she was proud of who I've become. That meant everything. This moment of reconciliation is what Taylor wants others to see, not as a scandal, but as a testimony of forgiveness, of finding your voice, and of learning to live in your truth. We're all human, she says, even gospel stars, even their children, and we all need grace. As Taylor steps forward into the light for the first time on her own terms, she wants to inspire other young people living in the shadows of fame, ministry,
You're
or
not
high
alone,
expectations.
she says. Your pain matters. Your story matters. Don't let anyone tell you that your truth is too heavy to speak. And with those words, Taylor Adams redefines what legacy truly means. Not just living in the shadow of greatness, but rising in your own power, voice, and healing. For years, she was silent. But now, she's singing her own song, and the world is finally listening. Yolanda Adams is an American gospel singer, actress, and host of her own nationally syndicated morning gospel show. She is one of the best-selling gospel artists of all time, having sold over 10 million albums worldwide. In addition to achieving multi-platinum status, she has won 4 Grammy Awards, 4 Dove Awards, 5 BET Awards, 6 NAACP Image Awards, 6 Soul Train Music Awards, 2 BMI Awards, and 16 Stellar Awards. She is the first gospel artist to win the Grammy Award for Best Gospel Song. She is also the first gospel artist to be awarded an American Music Award. She is known as the Queen of Contemporary Gospel Music, the First Lady of Modern Gospel, while Variety dubbed her the reigning Queen of Urban Gospel. Adams was named by Billboard in 2009 as the number one gospel artist of the decade, driven by the sales of her number one album, Mountain High, Valley Low. In 2016, President Barack Obama awarded Adams with the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award for her volunteer service. She was inducted into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame by the Gospel Music Association in 2017. In 2018, she became the first gospel artist nominated for a Tony Award for her work on SpongeBob SquarePants. In 2019, she received the Soul Train Music Awards Lady of Soul Award and received critical acclaim for officially opening Super Bowl Live with her performance of America the Beautiful. Billboard listed her as one of the top gospel artists of the 2010s. She has scored 5 #1 albums on Billboard's Top Gospel Album. Adams was inducted into the Black Music and Entertainment Walk of Fame in 2022. Thanks for watching.